Welcome back. Well, our next guest growing up had two uncles. One was a decorated Chicago police officer. The other was a gang member.
Wow, and that influenced this new novel. It's called Ace Boone Coon, The Tales of Elliot Caprice. It is historical fiction, and Danny Gardner is now on a national book tour with a virtual event happening right here in Milwaukee. Hey, Danny.
Hey, Danny.
Good morning. Hi, everybody. Back in Milwaukee, where, go Bears. I had to get it out. Sorry.
Okay. Yes, our producer told me during the commercial break. I need to confirm it is true you're a Bears fan?
I'm from Chicago, and I just cut myself shaving, and it bled orange and blue. So I can only do what I can do. I apologize.
I love it. That's so great. Well, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you for that reason and many others, including this exciting new book. Tell us a little bit about the plot. It's set in the 1950s, right?
Right. These are a distillation of all the stories I grew up hearing about my grandfather, his cohorts, in what was in the 50s known as Chicago's Black Belt. And this is when, folks, a team had coming up 50,000 every year from the South to Chicago, and the economy is swelling, and new entrants to the educational system in the middle class are growing, and tensions are binding people together in these really cool ways. And I see a lot of Chicago, and I've seen a lot of literature, and I've watched a lot of television, but this stuff is the real nitty gritty of what made Chicago the seat of the Great Migration in the first place. And so with me having strange bedfellows in my family, every Thanksgiving, it's either a politician or somebody who would pay a politician cutting a turkey. And you hear these stories, and you're influenced by all your relations. And after a while, it just, to me, it seemed like the American dream distilled into like the working class drive to just have better. And, that's kind of how great towns in the Midwest like Chicago, Milwaukee, Indianapolis were formed. We have Columbus, Ohio, because folks just like, man, I'm going to go over there and I'm going to do something away from everyone else. And then they established the market, and here comes 8,000 more people a day who want to get in on it. So it's just the natural tension at the dinner table produced the natural tension in the plot.
Well, it's interesting because you had to do all this, as you mentioned, kind of traditional research. And then you had, as you also mentioned, family research, where you had, as we said when we introduced you, the one family member who is a decorated police officer, the other who is a decorated gang member. And I wonder as a kid, who did you idolize more when you heard their stories?
Oh, all right. Well, my uncle, Eddie B. Hill, who left the DEA, kind of the highest ranking African American that they could find. And he might be watching, and he's still alive. So I have to say the cops. But if anybody really knows me, it was my mom's brothers. Like my favorite uncle, Ricardo Gant, who tutored me in how to conceal a weapon if I got caught going to magnet school, but at the same time, got me through trigonometry.
Yeah, it's
very duality.
It's hard not to idolize somebody, because that seems like such an exciting life. So I think, especially as a kid, it makes sense. I wonder, too, about being a Black crime fiction writer. I know you were profiled in the Chicago Trib, which was wonderful, but that these voices are heard, and how you say writing about wrongs can help right some wrongs. Explain what you mean.
Well, we like to move ahead from our failures, right? As a society, nobody wants to sit still with the wreckage of what they thought was a good idea. And quite frankly, y'all, if we look back on slavery, they could have had a few more roundtable meetings about that. I think we see that now, right? So we don't examine the past with enough distance and with enough time to allow perspective to re-enter with humor, perhaps a little action and adventure. We won't get the lessons of the stuff that we keep rehashing with ourselves every 50 years. And I like the fact that my book talks about my grandparents' generation and how a lot of this racial tension that we seem to be struggling with now, we already worked that out. I mean, I'm living in a better world because of the racial tension and animus that people like my grandparents already settled. So while we're reopening old wounds, when we could just return to old stories of the past, maybe make them a little sexy, a little action adventure-y, right? But still, we'll remember. We know how to live with each other already. Let's just get to it.
Well, speaking of taking some of the things that you've experienced and making them a little sexier, you did that in your book, because I know some people recognize you from, HBO's Def Jam, Comedy Jam, but you were also at a Bernie Mac show, and you had to truly escape because you upset some real life gang members, and you used that story in your book.
Yeah. Like, you just don't make it in the Chi. If you grow up in Chicago and you make it, you're carrying about 80 people with you. You just have to. I mean, it's just a culture, man. I love it, right? You always have a friend to talk to. But sometimes when I was younger, a lot younger, and that's like 20 years ago younger, I didn't really check the room before I started speaking. And I didn't notice that it was a birthday party for the gang leader Jeff Ford's nephew in the back of the Cotton Club. And, I'm Bernie Mac's understudy. So anything that he doesn't want to do, he gives to me. And I proceeded to deal with these guys heckling like I didn't check to see who was important in the room first. And it was 2 a.m. Everybody left. The club was empty. And James Hanna, the late, great, Bernie Mac and I are sitting in the center of the floor in the Cotton Club trying to figure out how to sneak past 15 El Rukns who were angry and forgot they're actually my cousins.
Oh, that's hilarious. Now, we teased this, so you have to really quick tell us about the altercation you had with Mike Tyson.
Again, it's Bernie. I'm Bernie's understudy. Like, Bernie's like 39 years old. I'm 19. I'm like, hey, mister, give me a gig. And he's like, okay, Danny, go host that new comedy club over there. Turns out I don't know who owns that place. It's a little shady. And then, first time I get to open mic night, I'm trying to host the thing. And Mike Tyson's heckling all of us. And, well, I ain't going to take that off Mike Tyson, man. I'm in Chicago. So, again, Bernie Mac, Calvin Hollis, and I are trying to figure out how to sneak me out of a club at 2 a.m. because everybody wants to kill me.
It sounds like Bernie Mac is your angel on earth. He's your protector.
Oh, he was something. He was something.
It was wonderful.
It sounds like you had some close escapes as well.
Still having.
It was great talking to you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, y'all. Hope you enjoyed the book. Bye-bye. Go Bears. Sorry, I had to.
I love it. You're good.
All right, thanks, Danny. Danny's going to celebrate the launch of his book, It's Ace Boone Coon, at a virtual release party in conversation with Nick Petrie, who you guys have seen before. We've had him on the show many times. It's happening this Friday. It's at 7 o'clock. You register through Boswell Book Club or boswellbook.com. The book is also widely available wherever books are sold and through the website bronzevillebooks.com. I have a feeling the conversation's going to be great.
Yeah, he's a funny guy. I love that. All right.